Hello everybody, Mr. the Vestman here, bringing you episode 2 for the Rise of the Martian Bear DLC on Iron Brigade slash Trench slash this game. And this level is interesting. Actually, I really liked this level the first time I played it. I thought it had a neat dynamic. You have this central ship which you're protecting, and you have 3 very windy paths around it. This video I chopped up into 3 sections. The first, about 4 minutes. The middle, about 4 minutes, and then the last 4 minutes. Because, as we saw in the last video, these levels are really, really long. So I didn't want to leave you guys hanging with uncommentated footage like I had to in the first one, stuff like that. So I chopped this one up, and I feel that you can extrapolate, and I will talk about what happens during these breaks, so as to fill in any missing footage. The first thing you're going to want to do, what weapons to bring. Same thing you used in the first level. If you're soloing, snipers. If you're not soloing, then machine gun snipers. You might also want to have someone with explosive rounds, because there will be breakers. So grenade launchers or artillery. I would suggest grenade launchers because there's not going to be too many breakers. Or you can use, if you have them, you might not have had them at this point. There are a couple other weapons that have explosive effects on them that aren't necessarily artillery or grenade launchers. But yeah, that's the guns you want to bring. So you can see I'm using the exact same setup as before. So I have it's called the Albert Sniper. It's a later drop. It's a 100 damage sniper, 4 rounds in the clip that has piercing on it. And then I have 2 perforators, which are machine guns that have piercing on them. Like I suggested in the first video, farm the first level a few times to get some good drops. Because on this level, I actually would suggest, if you're soloing, or even if you're in a group, to use the shotgun, the ironclad shotgun, the massive shotgun, whatever your best shotgun turret is right now. Also, point out real quick, right here on this ledge, Tommies like to sit there and spawn. Tommies are the ones with the long-range tail, scorpion-like attack. So if you are having issues with them, put a mine layer, put a shotgun, something up there to deal with them. If you have multiple people, you can have someone just kind of camp there and wait for them. So yeah, keep that in mind. If your ship's getting damaged, you'll know why. Also, another thing, every about second, third, or fourth wave, every so many ways, there will be snipers. There's only going to be 1 to 2. It's not going to be a major issue. But yeah, like I was saying, so bring shotgun emplacements, and you can see where I just put that shotgun there. You're going to want to put 2 to 3 shotguns around the front of the ship, because there's going to be a significant event happen there, and you'll see that later in the video. Otherwise, you're going to want to put a couple shotguns and or mine layers at the back of the ship where the 2 pathways converge. I'll also demonstrate that here coming up.
Rules were meant to be broken, Vlad.
But this is a little bit of a cutscene. This was the first break, so I chopped out a few minutes. So we went from wave 2 to I think about wave 5 or 6. And this is a new boss called the Amplifier. So one thing to note is when he spawns, he makes a new pathway at the front of the ship. You'll see it here, right there. And you can see how I've laid out the shotguns now at this point in the game. So we're on wave 8, actually. So this is wave 8, so I have 3 shotgun turrets on the front of the ship. And now this Amplifier comes out. And this Amplifier makes a new pathway, so now enemies can spawn from where he busted out. The Amplifier actually does not go after the base. Specifically, he'll go after turrets first. He is actually a turret destroyer, so he'll walk up to a turret, he kind of opens his mouth, and it basically starts vacuuming it up. And after a couple seconds, it's an instant kill, so you have to take it out as quickly as you can. Also, from that front, you'll see burst transmitters come out, and breakers will come out of there, so keep an eye on that. That's why I suggest putting the shotguns there, because you can deal with the bursters, but the shotguns will really help you against the breakers, and they'll really help you against the Amplifier, because the Amplifier has to get point blank, and those shotguns, even as they're being attacked, will shoot him and do tons of damage. And yeah, you can see there at the back, turn, Vestman, turn. There, so there at the back, this is the other spot you want to fortify. Oh, so this is a problem with post-commentation. I hear some breakers. You can see Todd put a minefield there, so if you have a second player, you can have them bring a minefield. Those are the those are the ironclad mines, but even if you just had massive mines, it doesn't even matter. You could use the lowest level mine. The point is that you just want them to break the shell.
Here's something else for you.
You're going to have Jacobs once in a while, but it's never going to be anything too crazy with the Jacobs yet.
Preamp for you.
Coming on those back ways. Really, I'm trying to think. There's nothing crazy that'll come out there. You're going to have a couple big willies out of that zone. You'll have snipers once in a while. I don't think there's any arties out of there. I think it's just big willies. It might be a Bertha that I'm not forgetting. Am I going to go back there? But you can see off there in the distance at that back pathway, two paths converge there. So you're going to want, either, if you got multiple people, you can put a mine layer there, or you can put a mortar turret if you really want. I don't suggest that, though. Mine layers work. And here you can see where the shotguns are handy, because these guys walk right between them. Pow, pow, pow. That's like 100 some odd damage per shotgun shell. So if you don't have an explosive weapon to break through the shell, the shotguns will do some serious work on them for you. You can also see there's a path right there to the left that you just saw me kind of spin around. Bad guys will come from there, but typically, I think one big willy comes that way, but usually it's just resistors, those guys that we just blew up. And you can see I've got a shotgun right at the end of that pathway for a reason, and that's just kind of mop up any guys that we might miss. Todd also put a mortar there. Once again, I don't typically suggest using the mortars, but if you're kind of playing with multiple people, you can use whatever you want. This level, once again, isn't too difficult. You just got to keep in mind that Tommies will camp the back of your ship. You'll have snipers every couple waves, and you got to watch out for those amplifiers that spawn back in there in the front. Once again, you could put snipers too, but the snipers I don't feel are going to be as effective on this map because there's a lot of obstructions. There are absolutely no aerial enemies, so you don't need to bring flak. You don't even really need machine guns. I really find that the machine guns on this level, because there are so many heavy enemies, there's a lot of breakers, there's a lot of
this one's for you,
amplifiers out of the front. There's going to be a bunch of guys, not a bunch, but there's going to be the odd guys with Jacobs, and the machine guns just won't deal with that well. Typically, I would, on most normal maps, on the normal campaign and whatnot, I usually suggest just machine guns everywhere, because the machine guns are so universally useful, except for in this one instance where I just feel having the shotguns be able to drop the enemy quickly is much more effective than having the machine guns kind of pick at them. Also because just the way the computer pathways are in this, on this level, they all kind of converge right on your spawn point. Where not spawn point, but your protection point. Whereas on some of the other levels, you have a little more distance, you have more time for the machine guns to really do work. Dampening generators will also work really well in conjunction with the shotgun, but if you don't have them, like you can see I have them, but they aren't absolutely necessary. And you do have to be careful where you place the dampening generators, not because they'll be blown up. I don't think there's any knobs. Once again, that goes back to there might be Berthas or not. Here you can see we jumped ahead again. At this point, though, none of our defenses are changing. We're just upgrading what's already there. But the thing about the dampening generators is just like you can't place turrets too close to each other. At this point in the game, I'm sure you realize this. So it's just like if you have the shotguns down, then the dampening generator has to just be well positioned to make sure you're getting the maximum effectiveness out of it. But like I said, it's not absolutely necessary. Like most of the enemies will come in small groups, so the shotguns, once again, are just super useful for just, instead of whittling down their health like the machine guns do, the shotguns will just drop them 1 to 2 shots instantly, which I just find super useful. The only exception, the only time they come in massive groups is when it's Tommies and resistors, but you should be able to catch them yourself if you're paying attention. This is just me kind of marveling at how big. That's an ironclad knockback shotgun turret, fully upgraded. It's gigantic. I never really realized how big it was. I was just like, wow, that's really big.
Let's set up some defenses.
Now you can see back here now I have the 2 shotguns, and there's a mine layer right in the middle. So, like, literally it just destroys. If you're playing solo, once again, shotguns everywhere. You can put dampening turrets to help yourself out. I really don't suggest using the machine guns because I just don't find them as useful. The snipers, once again, if you're playing solo, the snipers are really important, whether you're using the hyper sniper or if you're using just a normal sniper. You won't have the Albert. You can't have the one I'm using. You get that from playing survival on Swamp. Actually, you've beaten Swamp at this point, so you can theoretically have it. What else? This level, I don't know if you'd ever want to farm this level for loot. I don't remember anything specifically super duper important on this level. Here you can see an instance we had about 4 or 5 Jacobs on one big Willy. And this is where the piercing effect really comes in handy. I can't stress how awesome the piercing effect is, because once again, the piercing will go through Jacob's shields. So, as you saw, like, I was just shooting through the Jacobs there, and it doesn't matter if I hit a shield or not, it'll just keep going. The other great thing is Jacobs like to clump up, so if I'm shooting one, there's a good possibility that I'm going to hit 2 or 3.
Are you all right?
And the other great thing about most of the snipers, and the Albert in particular, is when you hit an enemy, it'll stun them for a second. So that not only are you hitting the Jacobs, but you're stopping him from moving, which can be super useful, because if the Jacobs isn't moving, the bad guy he's trying to protect might walk out of range of the shield. This is the final wave, so you can see on the final wave you have enemies spawn at every spawn point. There's a boss at every spawn point. You shouldn't have much of a problem. Like here, this Amplifier is just going to get completely messed up by that mortar turret and shotgun. That's ironclad shotgun. Those ironclad shotguns, rather, do 500 damage a shot when they're fully upgraded. That's comparable to a sniper. Obviously, the shotgun can't reach as far, but it's really powerful. That's why I suggest using them if you're soloing, because they're just so useful. And you can even see, even though we're not soloing, I still use them because they're just so good on this level. And this is actually the last level where the shotguns are really useful. It's super rare, because in the original campaign I almost never suggested the shotguns, and now in the first couple levels I highly suggest them. The final enemies are just going to be these resistors.
Satisfying.
We were just kind of watching them die. I was just kind of chilling there. But yeah, that's about it for this level. Once again, you might want to farm it once or twice just to try to get as much loot as you can, but otherwise you should be fairly okay. Just shotguns on your shotgun turrets, slow turrets, and snipers should be golden. Thank you for watching, and we will see you on level 3.